Every game has a death knell moment where no one knew it, but in hindsight, it was the last moment the game could be considered good. For Madden, it was in the mid 2000s, right after EA had signed their exclusivity deal. For Star Wars The Old Republic, EA again, it was around the third raid coming out, as EA by that time had lost their raid design talent team, and the drive for the game festered. And for even the juggernaut that is World of Warcraft, it might be now, in the midst of their misogyny scandal and a lackluster expansion. So that day will come for Project Diablo 2. Luckily, we have a small team of dedicated enthusiasts at the helm, so the death knell will almost certainly come from somewhere else. Most likely, the player base itself. So I made a Reddit post earlier that didn't go well. That's mostly my fault because my weapons grade autism thought the easiest medium to post in without getting another ban was videoing screenshots. Apparently that was met with disapproval. And don't worry, I'm not here to give a long-form video essay on why I was right and the plebs of Reddit were wrong, because, well, quite the opposite. The thread was evenly split. 75% of the people thought I was autistic, and the other 25%, though, were split between supporting my actions in this little trade I posted and the actions of the potential buyer. So, quickly, let's break down what happened, because what's more important is how people felt about it, and what I think that means for Project Diablo 2 in the long term. I had posted up some cannot be frozen treks. I posted them for about 2 high runes. Well, the highest on the site's about 3, and they're not selling, so I figured these were priced to sell, as we say. I got an offer the next morning at work, and the guy said he'd be on later after I was off work. Well, great. I'll keep the post up for more offers and take one of those if he doesn't show up later, right? Well, then a few hours later, some guy offered me 1.5 high runes. Well, being priced to sell, I was admittedly a little offended. They are undercutting the undercuts, and he's undercutting my undercut. But he eventually was politely declined by me, and he countered back with the full 2.0 I wanted and demanded a game be made. I politely declined again, as I said I already had someone lined up, and I don't really like telling people I'll be around and then selling under them. The post is up at this point for contingency offers if this doesn't come through. So I told the second offer I'd circle back if the guy doesn't show. I got an immediate counter offer of 2.25 high runes, which I again declined. The offerer got a little pissy and said I should have taken down the post altogether. Now, I think I'm right in this situation. Obviously, that's why I made a post bitching about it. But more important was what people in the thread thought, because, well, quite a few people 100% got where I was coming from, beyond the autism format. But others completely disagreed, arguing what I did was essentially bullshitting an advertisement when I was locked into a deal in my mind already. I think this separates the player base into 2 categories of traders, and I think that's the issue. And while I don't want to make an argument for what I did being right in the micro, because, well, who cares? I do want to say why I think maybe sticking with your first offer, or taking less than full value in a rune break, or how do we say it, simply dealing honestly and not just to the highest bidder is good for the game in the macro, larger scale picture of things. And why I think price checks suck and they're indicative of the issue here. So we can either treat our fellow players as more of a retail style experience, shopping for the best offer, or more like potential business partners. And I feel like everyone who thinks the guy offering 3/4 of my initial ask, and then being a little pushy over the top, this guy is just a go-getter. He's using that retail style method of trading. Everyone around you is a potential buy to be had, a haggle to be made, or, dare I say it, a sucker to rip off in some cases. Well, that might work in a retail store where you can be a bit of a dick. You can ask for 10% off because the box that holds the TV is dented. And more importantly, you might get it. You could even go full Karen get the manager involved, who might just give you the discount and let you walk. And who does this hurt anyway? It's some mega corporation and an exasperated manager who will forget you by tomorrow. You, meanwhile, got a sweet deal. So why not? Well, mainly this isn't a mega server even, like a WoW MMO. Our player base is small, and so small in fact that after 1 month I've already started running into repeat customers, so to speak, on the trade site. If I can say why this all matters, let me give you an example I know well. Prospecting clients as an attorney. So, a plaintiff's attorney, who represents the injured. They take a portion of the case settlement. They get part of the winnings. They don't get paid generally. In the meantime, there's actually rules against doing that. And this ensures plaintiffs get fair representation, so there isn't just a bunch of high-powered super attorneys charging crazy prices to win bullshit cases. Now, if I were to approach a hurt person and say, I'll take your case for 30% of the settlement, well, you might decline because you shopped around, and the attorney down the street will take the case for 25%. I counter quickly and say, I got you. All chipper and full of energy, I will do it for 25%. Well, you might be tempted, but you did promise to give proper consideration to the first attorney you talked to, and you're still shopping around. And you might trust the other people more because their initial offers were more fair, more market value price for the services. But you promise you will circle back to me with my 30% or 25% if the other offers fall through, something that comes up, they don't have the scheduling. Well, I immediately counteroffer again, and I say, fine, here you go, 20%. And here's where we will meet to discuss the case. Well, being that pushy, you might tell me to fuck off. You might be inclined to tell other people in the town to tell me to fuck off. And if I do this in a small enough town, everyone will tell me to fuck off. These ambulance chasers, as we call them in the profession, they create a culture of mistrust between legal representatives and the town. This is a major problem, actually, in Appalachia, where I went to school. These, how do they say it? Big wig city slickers ain't good for nothing, and attorneys in silk stockings are not welcome. And they breed a deeper problem of mistrust and negativity in the community at large. So, using this example, again, the micro really doesn't matter, but as a macro issue, why does trading fairly? Why does trading in a manner where you're not salivating over every last ounce of value for your rune, getting every value piece you can for your price check, and generally not being a nuisance? I would argue that is so much better for the long-term health of the game that we obviously all love. We will all eventually clip, but in a climate where YouTubers are already getting a little clickbaity with their build guides, there are constant price checks on the subreddit. There are overpriced items stocking up on the trade site, and we are starting to get back into that cutthroat culture of trading from LOD that we certainly don't need or have to continue with. Well, I think we could already see where the death knell for this game will come. Luckily, our dev team is small, responsive, they give a shit, they play the game themselves, so it won't come next season or maybe even the season after that. But I honestly do believe this hardcore LOD trading style, which, to be honest, this is worse than LOD, because at least in fucking LOD I can trade item to item. It will be eventually what kills our little player base. People not being able to play the game, not being able to actually enjoy the multiplayer aspect of Diablo 2 because, well, the trades are just annoying. It's more of a nuisance and a burden to have to play multiplayer than to actually play this wonderful mod. Now, I could be wrong, and I'm almost certainly more wrong that a poorly made video essay is going to fix this. But I have said and will continue to say I'd feel a bit of a fool if I didn't try to at least explain, and I do hope it does make a difference. And Well, if one person likes this and maybe makes their next trade or room break a gull or a mal down because it's, well, just damn friendly, then I guess this was time well spent. See you guys.